Video looked like one ESPN analyst, Wnba, is breaking her silence about the WNBA not hiring any black coaches.
An ESPN analyst just called out the WNBA for its glaring lack of black head coaches this season. Instead, the league brought in 3 coaches with NBA backgrounds, none of whom are black women. This has sparked a major debate about who truly paved the way for the league in the first place. The timing couldn't be worse for the WNBA's public image. Have you ever seen an organization make choices that make you question what they really value? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
There is a shared experience, right? Across, it's not just for coaches. Black women getting the opportunity. And it's not just like, oh, why aren't the black women getting the opportunity? It's also when they do get the opportunity, what is the nurturing of that black woman in that role when she has the opportunity? When this black woman has this seat as head coach, for me, is it she being supported and giving the chance to implement her system? Is she being given feedback? And is her vision and voice being supported? Or is she working within an organization where she's facing opposition? Can you imagine? How can you succeed when you're not getting wind beneath your wings? Or when you have to go, when it's opposition, you're trying to implement. I just want to make sure too that the bar doesn't get changed when we're talking about black women holding that seat. And I do think that happened. The bar got changed in the situation of the Chicago Sky. This is not about coming for Tyler Marsh's head. This is about the Sky franchise. Spoon was hired by the Chicago Sky October 12, 2023. She was fired September 26, 2024. That was less than a year. And if you actually look at WNBA seasons and like when she actually had time with the team, she had about 6 months with the franchise and with the players. It's a sign of a turbulent organization. If you fire a coach after 6 months, you never gave them a real chance. Since they won that championship in 2021, they've had 4 coaches. So that's 4 coaches in 4 years. That's just a lot of turnover. Okay, the bar changed though, because Spoon finished 13-27. And even still, she had the support of franchise players. Angel Reese, other players were vocal about her. This season's team of the Sky, led by Tyler Marsh, finished even worse. 10-34, they tied for last. The results were worse. They also missed the playoffs. And obviously at the end of the season, there was a lot of dysfunction. Why was 13-27 for Spoon not acceptable, but 10-34 for another coach is? Why did the bar change? I feel that has to be called out. Why wasn't Spoon given a second season of continuity to implement and grow her system? We've got to keep an eye on that and call that out.
Wnba from ESPN just spoke out about the WNBA's coaching shakeup this offseason, and she didn't hold back. Out of 5 new head coaching hires, not a single one is a black woman. On top of that, 3 of the 5 come straight from NBA backgrounds. This has sparked a huge debate about diversity, access, and who really laid the groundwork for the WNBA.
Look at this. Ta-da! I bet y'all noticed there is a new trend in the WNBA, a new pipeline for head coaches. It's the NBA. Friday, the New York Liberty announced that they chose to hire Golden State Warriors assistant Chris DeMarco as their next head coach. Now, what does this mean in the big scheme of things? Well, here are the pros. In my opinion, the ultimate goal is always for people to realize that basketball is just basketball, no matter who is playing, whether you're in the NBA or the WNBA. It's all good hoops. For a very long time, people thought that the standard for meaningful opportunity in this industry was being associated with the NBA. Trust me, I know this a little bit personally. The list with ties is starting to get super long. Becky Hammon, Natalie Nakase, Nate Tibbetts, Alex Sarama, Sonia Rahman, Tyler Marsh, and now Chris DeMarco. For additional context, there are more coaches in the NBA than there are players in the WNBA. So getting a promotion to head coach in the NBA, especially with how they recycle respected names, probably seems really difficult, nearly impossible. But you know what they say, money talks. With coaches now making well over $1 million, the WNBA is now becoming a destination for opportunity. I'm sure people are noticing that if you're not getting hired from the NBA, you're most likely now coming from college. Lynn Roberts, Carl Semesco, and Jose Fernandez. And this leads me to my cons. It's getting increasingly hard for aspiring coaches or even former players to win from within. Internally, the WNBA has some of the brightest minds. Christy Tolliver, Breon January, Karima Christmas Kelly, Lindsey Harding, who is currently with the Los Angeles Lakers. Entering last season, Noelle Quinn was the only Black female head coach in the entire WNBA, and now the count is at 0. Clearly, all eyes are on the WNBA and its head coaches, but I hope we also never forget who helped pave the way.
Let's break down what sparked all the controversy. The New York Liberty just named Chris DeMarco, a longtime assistant with the Golden State Warriors, as their new head coach. This move came right after they fired Sandy Brondello, yes, the same coach who had just led the team to a championship. Winning it all and still getting fired. Naturally, that raised a lot of eyebrows. But the hire that replaced her is what really ignited the conversation. Chris DeMarco comes with serious credentials. He's been with the Warriors since 2012, part of 4 championship teams, and has worked closely with stars like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. From a basketball standpoint, this is undeniably a strong pick. The Warriors are one of the most successful franchises ever, and DeMarco was integral to their system. On paper, the Liberty snagged someone with championship experience and elite level insight. Here's where the problem starts. This is now the 3rd WNBA head coaching hire this offseason coming straight from the NBA. Becky Hammond is leading the Aces, Natalie Nakasi is with the Golden State Valkyries, and now DeMarco joins the Liberty. Factor in names like Nate Tibbetts and Tyler Marsh, whose stints in Chicago didn't pan out, and the pattern becomes clear. The WNBA is increasingly looking to the NBA for coaching talent instead of elevating from within its own ranks.
I love a good unqualified man hire. Woo!
Love it.
I love it. I love it. Here's why I love it. I mean, obviously I'm being sarcastic. I don't love it. This is embarrassing. We're talking about things bigger than a nice person getting an opportunity. An opportunity that he is completely unqualified for. Right. Completely unqualified for. And I don't want to hear about playing. Coaching is an experience that you have to have experience for. And we undermine it constantly by these hires. So what really bothers me is every time these unqualified, wildly unqualified hires happen, nobody wants to give it the attention that it deserves when we're talking about Black head coaches. That's right. You have no experience, none, zero, none, no experience in college or professionally. And what is the word that we always hear when it comes to Black coaches being hired? Well, they just don't have enough experience. Yep. This is why when people start their whole production about, oh, everybody's politically correct now and everybody's so sensitive and you're always complaining about stuff. This, I don't know what's a better example of I can get a beer with this guy than this. This is a good old boys club if I had never seen it. And the next time we're talking about this, don't come to me, don't slide out of your little...
And this is where Chenna Goom's critique hits hard. She highlighted that going into last season, Noelle Quinn was the only Black female head coach in the entire WNBA. Now, that number has dropped to 0, not 1. That's a huge issue for a league built on the shoulders of Black women who have shaped and promoted this sport for decades. Chen broke it down, weighing the pros and cons. On the plus side, the ultimate goal should be recognizing that basketball is basketball, whether it's the NBA or the WNBA. For years, being tied to the NBA was seen as the ultimate marker of opportunity and legitimacy in the sport. Bringing NBA coaches into the WNBA can raise the league's profile, and with WNBA coaches now earning over $1 million, the league is becoming a real career destination for top coaching talent. But the downsides are serious. It's becoming harder for aspiring coaches and former WNBA players to climb the ranks from within. The league has some of the sharpest basketball minds who have played at the highest level. Names like Christy Sides, Tanisha Wright, Pokey Chapman, and Cheryl Reeve. These are individuals who know the WNBA inside and out. Yet when the league continues to hire from outside, these homegrown candidates keep getting passed over.
An expansion team is named Cavs assistant Alex Sarama, first coach in team history. I just think that the WNBA is a copycat league, and WNBA has had success in coaches that have come from the NBA, but the problem that I have is a lot of the coaches that are gonna come from the NBA are not gonna be women. And in a league that is all women, I think that the coaching positions are kind of going back to men. And if everything is going towards NBA, do women walking in the door have a fair shot? I'm saying having it be a fair competition for women, and especially women of color, to have an opportunity to coach in the WNBA. And right now we have 0 African-American women that are head coaches. The NBA recognized that problem in the NBA with black males, and Adam Silver implemented a number of rules and hiring and especially in the process of the interviews and the criteria and all that stuff. And now look, there's a number of men that are represented by the NBA.
Let's tackle the big question. Is the WNBA racist? It's complicated. The league was built largely by black women, and the majority of its players are black. Its history, culture, and identity are deeply rooted in the contributions of black female athletes. So when the league makes 5 head coaching hires and not one is a black woman, it naturally raises questions about its priorities and values. Things get even murkier when some people try to link this to Caitlin Clark and the increased attention white players are getting. That connection is uncomfortable and arguably unfair. Caitlin Clark didn't make these hiring decisions. She isn't responsible for the WNBA's internal choices, but her popularity has coincided with a noticeable shift in how the league operates, which some critics interpret as a factor. The reality is that Caitlin Clark has brought unprecedented attention to the WNBA. Viewership has skyrocketed, attendance is up, merchandise is flying off the shelves. Whether people want to admit it or not, she has been the single biggest driver of mainstream interest in the league's history. But here's the issue. That surge in attention shouldn't come at the expense of the women who built the league. Critics argue that the WNBA is chasing mainstream success, while overlooking the black women who created and sustained it for decades. When the spotlight and money finally arrived, the league turned to NBA coaches instead of promoting qualified WNBA insiders. That criticism isn't without merit. On the flip side, the WNBA is also a business. Owners make decisions they believe will lead to success. If they think NBA coaches bring credibility, advanced tactics, and connections that help teams win, that's what drives hiring choices. That's not necessarily racism, it's capitalism. But there's a real risk here. By continually looking outside the league for head coaches, the WNBA sends a message to its own talent that they're not enough. That's disheartening for WNBA assistants who've worked for years, climbing the ladder, only to see opportunities go to outsiders. Coaches like Christy Sides with the Indiana Fever or Cheryl Reeve with the Minnesota Lynx have proven they can lead and win, yet they are becoming the exception rather than the norm. The new trend favors hiring from the NBA or college, which is slowly squeezing out the pipeline of WNBA lifers who expected head coaching opportunities to eventually come their way. Chen also pointed out former players like Swin Cash, Taj McWilliams Franklin, and others who would make excellent coaches. They played at the highest level, know the WNBA culture intimately, and can connect with players in ways NBA assistants might not, yet they aren't being seriously considered. The New York Liberty situation is particularly telling. Sandy Brondello just led the team to a championship and still got replaced. Officially, ownership said they wanted a new direction, but the timing suggests they saw a chance to hire an NBA-connected coach and took it regardless of past success. Reports indicate Sabrina Ionescu even reached out to Steph Curry during the process for his thoughts on DeMarco. That shows she had influence as the face of the franchise, but also underscores that the hiring process prioritized NBA ties over proven WNBA candidates. Here's the part that makes some people uncomfortable. Part of the reason the league is hiring NBA coaches is to attract casual mainstream fans, people who watch the NBA but haven't paid much attention to the WNBA. By bringing in coaches with NBA credentials, the league hopes to signal that it's just as legitimate and sophisticated as its male counterpart. But here's the problem with that approach. It undervalues the WNBA's own history and the people who built it. It sends a message that WNBA experience alone isn't enough, that you need NBA validation to be taken seriously. That's insulting to everyone who has worked tirelessly in this league for years. And it's especially insulting to black women who have been the foundation of the WNBA from day one. The racial dimension can't be ignored. When a league built primarily by black women starts hiring mostly white or male coaches with NBA ties, instead of promoting black women from within, it raises serious concerns. It doesn't necessarily mean there's overt racism, but it does suggest that the league is prioritizing something other than the people who laid its foundation. And let's be honest about the Caitlin Clark effect. Her popularity has brought in in new fans, sponsorships, and attention, and that's undeniably positive. But if that attention results in decisions that exclude or diminish the contributions of the black women who created the league, it's not progress. It's just a shift in priorities. Some argue that Caitlyn paved the way for the league's current success. In terms of mainstream attention and viewership, that's true, but the real path was paved decades ago by legends like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, and countless others who played when no one was watching, when pay was low, and when the league's survival was constantly at risk. When Chenna Gomes says, "I hope we never forget who helped pave the way," she's reminding us that the WNBA didn't start with Caitlin Clark's viral Iowa highlights. It started with black women who built something from nothing and kept it alive for decades. Now, as the league finally gains attention and money, those same women are being overlooked in favor of NBA assistants. This offseason's coaching carousel makes that clear. The Liberty hiring Chris DeMarco, the Valkyries bringing in Natalie Nakase, the Sky hiring Tyler Marsh, who struggled in Chicago, and others. The pattern is undeniable. Teams are looking outside the WNBA for coaching talent instead of promoting from within. As a result, former players and longtime assistants are being shut out. There are coaches working as assistants today who deserve head coaching opportunities, but when teams keep hiring from the NBA or college, those opportunities disappear. For young black women considering coaching as a career, this sends a harsh message. The path to a head coaching role may not exist for you. That's the systemic issue. It's not just this season's hires, it's the message being sent across the WNBA ecosystem. Experience in the league isn't valued as highly as NBA connections. Being a great player or a committed assistant in the WNBA isn't enough. Outside validation seems necessary for promotion, and the irony, some NBA hires haven't even succeeded. Tyler Marsh struggled in Chicago. Other NBA assistants have found it difficult to adjust to the WNBA because the game, the culture, and the challenges are different. Coaches who have been in the WNBA for years understand these nuances in ways outsiders cannot. So is the WNBA racist? That's probably the wrong question. The more important question is the league making decisions that harm the black women who built and sustained it for decades? Looking at this offseason's coaching hires, the answer seems to be yes. Intentional racism or short-sighted business decisions, it doesn't matter to those who are being sidelined. An ESPN analyst recently called out the WNBA for not hiring a single black female head coach this season, and the conversation has exposed uncomfortable truths about who the league values now that mainstream attention has arrived. The WNBA has some serious questions to answer about its priorities. If you want more coverage on league controversies and the stories that matter, hit that like button and subscribe.